Following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bizbb-radio.com.
Hello there. Welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome to another episode of the 716th Attack Legion podcast.
Welcome to Season 2 of the 716th Attack Legion podcast. My name is Julian, and I am here with the boys, Jack, Jordan, and Christian. Say hello, boys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, boys. What's up?
So we just watched Ahsoka,
We
episodes
did.
1 and
Ahsoka
2.
premiere.
2-episode premiere. I think this is going to be a great way to kick off the season. Well, let's just go right into it. Like, holy crap. Wow. I'm blown away.
It was amazing.
It was so good. Seriously. Oh, also, now that we're in a close-up, you can see Jack got us these sweaters that have us as clones on them, and that's super dope. So it's all of our favorite colors, and Rich has one too. Rich is here with our normal host, Rich.
She see the open door.
Oh, also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this last time. I said this in the Hot Ones video. Maybe that'll come out after this. But Rich and Christian, I owe you both an apology.
Okay.
Because I rewatched recently. I rewatched Andor, and I have such a larger appreciation for it now than I did the first time around.
Well, it's about fucking time.
Yeah.
I still
concur.
don't think it's the greatest thing ever. There are
Well,
parts
it's
about
it's
it where
very
I'm like,
different.
I just wish it was shorter. I think that some things are dragged out too long, but I do have a much bigger appreciation.
You see, I'm happy that something at Disney Plus is more than 7 episodes.
Like where we put them on the list, I think is appropriate. I think they should be in their their ranking spots. Anyway, I just had to say that.
Okay.
So let's talk about Ahsoka. I oh my god. Like,
Rebels Season 5.
Yeah,
Rebels Season 5.
It has been probably the most
Basically,
anticipated
yeah.
Disney Plus show, I think.
I think
right?
so, yeah.
I mean, Obi-Wan was
yeah.
pretty highly anticipated, but I think this people were
This
ready
and Obi-Wan,
for
I
this.
think, are probably like similar levels of anticipation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts, Jack? What are you thinking?
I thought that it looked great. The score of both episodes was perfect. It had very slight Rebel tone, but then also like its own kind of Ahsoka tone from the Mandalorian show. The fighting was great.
Yeah, choreography is spot on so far.
Oh yeah.
The acting, like both, not both, but Ahsoka, Hera, Sabine, all were perfect. Like, you could really tell that the actors took their time to, like, master how each character, like, talks and walks and...
Yeah, I mean, even subtle things as, like, Rosario Dawson's, like, facial expressions are, like, right on the money.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's just so much... I mean, there's so much to unpack here about this. Like, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I guess we start at the beginning of the first episode, which starts with...
Ahsoka at the temple.
No, it starts with Baylan Skull and
Oh, yeah.
Shin Hati
Yeah, the rebel ship
attacking
massacre
a
from
rebel
the trailer.
ship. And they're very clearly dark Jedi, and he's like we are not Jedi, and they just attack a rebel ship. And they're like pretty sick looking. Like, first off, Ray Stevenson is huge.
Oh, my gosh.
He
He's like
is a
beast.
monster.
And like his fighting style, which we only got the one scene where he's just tearing through people, but his fighting style is very much just like showcasing like his size and showcasing like he's using like how much mass he has like in his fighting style, which is good. And then what's her name, like Shin, moves like super quick, like almost in like a more like a
It is
I don't even know who to
almost-
compare that to.
it
Really,
is
like
almost
a Ventressy, Darth Maul type of way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, like, it was almost like her, though, when she's on Lothal, like, and she has the probe droid with her, it's literally the exact same scene as when Darth Maul's on Tatooine looking for
Yeah, that's like,
Qui-Gon
I think
and
that's
Anakin.
I think that might be shot for shot. Like from
I
we're gonna
think
be
it
talking
might.
about, but I think probably be going back and forth between episodes 1 and episode 2.
Yeah.
Probably we're gonna be in. And
We'll
out,
try.
but-
We'll try to stay on track, but
Yeah, we just watched them both back to back. So
Yeah, and I mean,
So
yeah, Jordan, go ahead.
sorry, I got the way that I described it in the react was that Ray Stevenson was more like Vader if Vader wasn't in a suit.
Yeah, he's
just
very
massive, very. You can see the Jedi training that's there, and not just the slice and dice raw stuff that we kind of get with the Inquisitors and
He's very stiff.
untrained.
that's
Yeah.
all, I was literally just thinking like
He,
almost
like,
like medieval armor.
He does
like
a lot
knight
of these
type
like
stuff.
boom, boom. You know, like a lot of this like harsh movements and things like that, which is honestly like really cool. We haven't seen a lot of it. A lot of the lightsaber fighting we see is all very flowy and very like, you know, the only people who are like super stiff with their fighting is really Darth Vader. So when you see that like in Ray Stevenson, who does it really well too, it's also not like, you know, it's just the choreography itself is fucking awesome. Like it's so good. It's got a mix of like prequel era, but also not too flashy. Like they are kind of being a little rough with it.
And they're shooting it well because they're holding the shots for long
Yeah.
periods of time
Well,
as well, which also shows that the actors that are on like screen are like actually like up to par. Like,
Well,
with
especially
the
the
choreography they've been given.
The fight at the end of episode 1 with Shin Hati and Sabine is really good.
Yeah.
Like it's shot really well. I mean, it's basically just a shot in reverse. I mean, that's really it. And they just kind of go back and forth. And Sabine and oh my gosh, Sabine's flexibility and agility is so.
Yeah, they translated that much better than I thought
She's
they would.
very flexible in the cartoon, and she can like move around really quickly and do all these cool flips and stuff like that. And they really nailed.
I
that
remember when Rosario Dawson came to Star Wars Celebration, and she was talking about the preparations that she had to do to get into the fighting like mentality. She was working with her stunt coordinator, and she was like, "Oh, can we do this and this and this?" And her stunt coordinator was like, "No one can do that in real life." But like, I think that they really like nailed her style.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with translating Ahsoka's motions in particular, because she's very acrobatic, like in the show. Less so in Rebels, actually, which I think makes it easier for her to translate. But
Yeah, because she's getting older, so as she gets older, it's less acrobatic. But
also, she does look. Rosario looks much more assured in the actual combat than
Yes.
she did in like Mando. Which I don't think she was horrible or anything in that Mando episode, but she looks like she holds the saber with much more like conviction. If
like
that
I think,
makes sense.
I think there was like a lot of nerves with that. Like when you come into Mando, a lot of it is like, okay, this is the first time we're seeing Ahsoka in live
Yeah.
action. Period. So like, there's a lot of pressure there. But now, like, we know what she looks like. We've seen her. We know as Rosario Dawson. We know, she's a good actor. She killed it in that show. Also appeared in Boba Fett. So, like, she knows the character now well enough.
Yeah.
I think that she's just, like, I think she can just nail it right on the head. And then, so, we go from them attacking the Rebel ship to Ahsoka goes to, what's the planet called that she's on?
Did they name it?
Yeah,
they might have named
They
it,
named
but-
it anywhere.
It's
I
a
wrote it.
Dathomirian.
It's a Dathomirian temple.
Nightsister.
Arcoria.
What'd you say?
Arcana?
Arcana?
Arcana.
I have
Arcana.
Arcana too. Yeah.
So
I wrote mine. I can't
So
read my own
it's
handwriting.
Arcana, and she's in a Dathomir Nightsister
Stronghold.
stronghold.
Which one of my notes here are Nightsisters maybe not native to Dathomir.
Which would make sense, because if you look at the Zabrak people that Maul is, and if you look at the Dathomirian Nightsisters, they don't look like anything alike.
No.
They don't.
Well,
The
they're not
only
the
thing
same,
they've got
yeah.
going for them is like the tattoo thing.
Yeah.
Like for example, like Marin looks a lot like Maul if you really take the tattoo thing to like a level, but again, that's like really the only thing
it
you
more
got
looks
going
like
for
the
it. The
witches-
Zabrak thing is all the
And
horns.
don't we? I'm pretty sure we've seen female Zabrak.
Yeah, there
if I
are.
remember correctly. I'm pretty sure in Clone Wars we've seen female Zabrak. Like
Yeah.
almost definitely.
Well,
So,
there's definitely isn't Kotar. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just
Oh,
think
yeah,
that like the
yeah.
Night Sisters almost had like this weird like the men on Dathomir were not like literally lived in villages of just men. They were almost like breeding stock for
Yeah.
like the Night Sisters of the planet because they were the ruling class of the
Yeah,
planet.
right.
So
Well, when you look at the witches in the temple, the depiction of the ancient witches, they all look like Mother Townsend with the headdress and But we also made the comment that they looked like the Zepho because we were trying to figure out what they were. But now that
now that you know what it is, they do kind of look like Mother Talzin.
Yeah.
And the thing too is like, so she goes in, she steals the orb, which we were all like, "What the fuck is this?" And it's a map to Thrawn. Oh, also to start off, like coolest opening to an episode ever, just starts with a scroll,
A red scroll.
a bright red scroll.
So
just kind of filling us in on where we are.
Oh, yeah, we got the scroll. Yeah, that's right.
Talking about Thrawn and all
it's
sorts
like
of stuff.
it's homage to the Skywalker saga. You don't get that with Mando, and you don't get that with Obi-Wan, and everything. It's just like it was very reminiscent to me of Skywalker saga, with that it's going to tie directly in, I guess.
Yeah, we got a similar type thing in Rogue One and in Solo. They both opened with like not necessarily scrolls, but like title cards like that,
Yeah.
where it gives you a little bit of exposition. So I kind of like that they did this, but this was like a literal. It scrolled on the screen. Really cool.
You could tell Filoni's in charge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can
100%.
tell. These episodes are so well written and so well directed. Like,
Well, these are his babies. I mean,
know.
you think about it. Like,
I just finished rewatching Rebels like 3 days ago, and literally, I don't even think it was 3 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago, and coming from the very last episode of Rebels till this, it literally just feels like I'm watching the same show.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so good. Everything from the acting to the score to the writing of the characters. I mean, it's so well translated that it doesn't feel like different.
But also the pacing doesn't feel like, I don't feel like they're gonna shove a filler episode in.
No.
Like at any point.
No,
which
the pacing is
which
very...
they managed to do twice in a 6-episode Obi-Wan season. So but nothing I've like got from this like indicated that like I don't know where they're gonna find time for filler, given the way they're moving and what they're talking about. Like,
right. So she gets this ball thing, which is essentially it's a map to Thrawn
the star
And
map,
or
yeah.
different galaxies.
and or different galaxies, but it's kind of insinuated it's a map directly to Thrawn, which I'm a little confused on. How is there a map to Thrawn?
I think the way they made
I don't
it sound
understand
to
that.
me was that because the Jedi almost, because not what's his name, Balin, basically mentioned that the thing that she was like referring to, like this path that the map apparently showed, was almost like a legend of some sort. Like it was almost like there was like a mythology to it that like Jedi like grew up. It was like a story that Jedi grew up like hearing. So I think the idea was that the Purrgil are the like take this path to this other galaxy, which I don't see why the Purrgil wouldn't be able to just leave the confines of their own. If they can do it through hyperspace, like,
I mean,
at their
that
own
makes
whim.
sense because especially like if you watch the end credits, it kind of like outlines the map itself.
Yeah, I think
and
it's more
there's
of
a line that goes through, and there's like Purrgil that are along the line.
I imagine it's more of a after last what's it called, the last video game, what's it called, Jedi Survivor. There's some weird hyperspace stuff going on in that.
That's
when
true,
you go into the nebula type thing. So there's a lot of
Oh yeah, you go into
weirdness
the
now.
nebula to get to Tanalor's.
And then also like you could like when it comes to a map, it's not really a map. It's just we found an old hyperspace route that we forgot about. Like that's basically like map. I hate that when they use the term map in Star Wars because like it's a galaxy. It's like there's not really you gotta go here first and then you gotta go there. It's like there's no direction. You just take the
hyperspace.
It's
lane.
it's
hyperspace
not
lane.
normally.
That's how
I mean,
really
it is
works.
essentially it's a map of the galaxy, and you just kind of have to find your way.
Unless you're
fly-
talking to Poe and he's hyperspace skipping,
Light speed skipping.
light speed skipping,
which
that's
is
what it
dumb. It
is.
doesn't break
Oh.
standard.
I
well,
didn't
but
get the sense that it was like this is where he is. Like X marks the spot.
yeah, this isn't
is
like
where Thrawn
we have a
is.
tracker on Thrawn. That's
Yeah.
like we chipped him when he.
Yeah, like I.
Well, didn't it
my
say
impression
in the
was.
scroll that
My
it was
impression was
distinctively a
that
map
it was
to him?
more intuitive through the Force that's
I
where
think
he
it's
was
like
going
a
to be.
loose-
So they needed a map to help identify where he was. But it didn't seem like it was like, oh, that's like it was just kind of that kind of thing. That's the way I looked at it anyway.
Well, and so obviously, so she can't open it. So then so she goes to
Hera.
Lothal.
Apparently,
no,
R2
she was
had a
Hera
missing
first.
piece.
She,
to the
that's
map
right.
or
She
something.
goes to
Oh
the
wait, different show.
the
New
the
Republic
Moncall
fleet.
cruiser. She goes to the Moncall cruiser, and
That's
and
home one actually.
Home
Yeah,
one.
Home
That's
One.
right. And Hera's there, which Mary Elizabeth Winstead nailed it.
Amazing.
Did great. So you get Hera, And then they
You get a lot of cool stuff too. A lot of throwbacks to like Return of the Jedi with the ships and the
The
style.
briefing
and,
room. There's,
Yeah,
like,
the
some
briefing
A-wings
room. We get to
background.
see the briefing room again, like the same one with the fake beard guy and all that stuff. Like, and the uniforms were a throwback to that too, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's also like a much cleaner. I think Christian said this.
Well, they're not in the middle of
or
a,
Jordan
of a
said
rebellion anymore.
It's a much cleaner rebellion now. Like everything's very clean, and their outfits are very like pristine. And Christian said that.
Yeah, they look more like
yeah.
They look more like Star Destroyers now. Like
Yeah, and I
They're
like
more
I
clean.
made a reference like it's very Star Trek-y. Like they're all like very clean and organized now.
It's a safer universe theoretically in their mind, so everything's a little bit cleaner.
Right.
They've had
And
time to scrub the deck.
Yeah, so they go and they do this. She talks to Hera, and Hera's like, the only way to open this is to go to somebody who knows how to read stuff like this. So they go to Lothal, and they go for Sabine, and we get to see Jikel,
yeah, which was
Who's
voiced
a
by
senator now?
who's a senator now, and then Clancy Brown, So I mean, it's like
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Like that was a
It
couple
wasn't Dante
easy.
Basco, but
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see either of those guys again, but it's cool to see that those guys made it through the war.
it's
and
cool
they're
that they
still
got
around.
cameos and
Yeah.
like stuff.
He was missing his big hat.
Yeah, I was wondering where the bucket hat was.
I mean, we've been talking about seeing Ryder for months.
Yeah,
so,
right, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
if we knew what was gonna happen, plus, like, he already showed up for Mando. Like, he was already in a Mando episode, and
Yeah.
he was what? I think he was Savage.
He was in 2 different episodes.
Yeah,
of
he
Mando.
was because he's Savage Opress. He's Ryder Azadi. He's the
Hellboy guy.
Devorian or whatever his name they're called with the horns. And
He's
he's
a
something else as well.
Yeah.
So
he was in Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the
He's
Red
in-
Devil
he's in the
guy.
Red Devil
he's in the
guy.
prison escape episode.
And he loves money.
Yeah.
You know.
Money,
I
money,
love
money,
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 we
money,
love
money,
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 money.
Oh, that's right. He is that guy.
Yeah.
He's one other character
And he
too.
was exactly like his character in the show too.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
perfect.
So,
Well, but it was funny because that's one when the first time we saw him first time I saw him on Rebels, I just started laughing because they drew him.
It was
They
just
drew
Clancy
him.
They
Brown.
just drew.
They drew
Clancy
the
Brown.
actor, which I appreciate
Well, I'm glad that they did that because they could bring him in.
because
for
even
this.
Bandu on looks like Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if he was like a giant weird,
well, like even like there's a
or
few guys
something.
like that because like even back in Clone Wars they made what's her name kind of look like the actress. If that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would. What's her
and
face?
so
More of the what's the one Mando that Sabine's like kind of gives mentors Sabine a little bit in Rebels.
Oh,
that guy.
not Gar Saxon.
The other guy.
the
He's
other
like
one.
a watcher or whatever. You know, they
Oh,
have
Fen Rao.
Fen Rao,
Rao.
yeah. Fen
And
Rao's
he
just-
looks like the
yeah,
actor.
Fen Rao looks exactly like his actor
Yeah.
as well, if I remember correctly. That's why people thought he was.
And even a Thrawn
he was
extent,
Mando.
to some extent, looks like looks like the actor.
yeah,
Looks like
Oh,
Elon
yeah,
Musk.
well,
Lars Mick,
Enough.
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
So,
Elon Musk.
so then they get Sabine, and oh my God, she's played beautifully. Oh, also forgot to mention, Ahsoka's randomly with Huyang.
They don't explain that.
They don't explain that.
I
They're
don't
just
care,
together.
but he's a
Yes.
very welcome addition.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
He's
and he's
hilarious.
not even-
David
he's-
Tennant's hilarious.
Yeah, he's good comic relief. He also adds a little, like some decent tidbits of like actual like meaningful dialogue to both Ahsoka and Sabine in the second episode as well.
And he's
So-
like crucial to the plot. Like he figures out who the lightsabers belong to, so
Yeah.
that like Ahsoka can actually
Yeah, he's
continue
just
the
not there
mission.
for shits and giggles.
I think
Yeah.
most of us
Oh.
were already sold on last thing on what's it called on Ahsoka the actress, but like Natasha Lee Bordizzo is killing it.
Oh my
as Sabine.
God.
Like I didn't think that was gonna adapt.
I think
nearly
she's
as well
probably.
as, like,
I mean,
the
I love.
premise.
Don't get me wrong. I love Rosario Dawson, but she's definitely my favorite part.
Like
of
she
the show.
always had the look, but no, yeah, she's like no because Ahsoka in this you can get that at this point because Ahsoka hasn't exactly been
A
like warm Ahsoka
welcome.
yet, like because she's
she's not the
because
Ahsoka
she's kind
we're
of in this
used
little
to.
bit of an antagonistic back and forth with Sabine right now, and I think we're a little
it's
bit
kinda-
more.
Something had to have happened between them.
Well, I think they're going to get into that too because
Well, 'cause
Ahsoka
we
walked.
haven't mentioned this yet.
They
Because
say Ahsoka walked away from her.
Yeah, so Ahsoka leaves like Sabine's training, but it made it seem like they trained together for like they didn't say how long, which I imagine that's going to get like kind of clarified at some point. But they have not said like how long they were together as like
No.
Padawan and Master. So
I would have to assume like
It seemed
right
like a
after
while.
Endor happened
No,
that
I
she took on.
I think it.
Well, no, because at the end of Rebels is like a year after.
So I'm still going with what I said, and in that, at the end of Rebels, you see Sabine with Ahsoka, where Ahsoka's in the all white, coming after the world between worlds and stuff like that, and I guess my reason for that is I'm actually sitting here looking at all the Ahsoka figures in front of me. And if you look at the lines on her face, they all change.
Well, I think that's just the designs.
No, but I did a little bit of research as I'm sitting here because I don't want to talk out of my butt. But as the species gets older, this is the explanation, that the lines on their faces change. So if you look at the lines on Ahsoka's face from Ahsoka the White to standard Ahsoka from the Mandalorian, they're completely different. The lines around the brow are different, they're shaped different. So I think that we see Ahsoka the White where after the Battle of Endor, that's when she comes in. And this scene that we saw here was more just it's a homage to Rebels. Not
See,
that
I
it's-
think that they overwrote the epilogue. I think that's easy. I think that's obviously what they did, because also not to mention like the Ahsoka the White thing from Dave Filoni's own mouth is a ripoff of Gandalf.
Yeah.
It's literally a ripoff of Gandalf, like almost like because in the idea that she's back to life, like
Yeah.
from the world between
She
worlds.
died
So
and-
maybe at the timing isn't working right, but that's literally why she's wearing gray in the show. I think.
As they show me.
Like, I think it's literally like goes from like gray to like Ahsoka the White. I think so. I think the idea is that the Rebels Epilogue, which obviously is after Return of the Jedi, I think that was more of a visualization, like a very quick thing that I think I've said this before of what Filoni's thought would be like his next chapter if he ever got to tell it. But maybe this isn't like one-to-one canon. Like everything in this shot, but like the ideas of what are present in that will still come to fruition. But so maybe by the end of the show, like she is at that point of Ahsoka the White. But maybe like back then, 6-7 years ago, whenever it was at this point, he thought that maybe she would already be at that point. But he's changed. Since
Well,
then.
I also wonder if it's not maybe that like that it's just it's meant to be like the shots in the show are just meant to be an homage to that scene, and like in reality,
I'm pretty sure it's shot for shot, including the movement of the characters. So I don't think it's like she did that twice.
Yeah, the movement
Like,
where
it's-
like she's touching the painting is
Yeah,
literally
the
framed.
one finger.
Yeah, like it's the same. There's things and just kind of the attitude. And does she say next? Nice. She doesn't say thing. Where's the nice haircut? Is new though, right?
no, she turns around and sees her, and
Well,
then
she
Rebels ends
doesn't
on a
get
wide
that
shot
far.
of her walking
They don't
up
get
to
to
her.
approach each other.
Well, there's
like,
no dialogue in the
yeah, no.
epilogue.
No.
So again, we don't know the context. I think I think it's a combination of both. I think it's mostly right from the epilogue, but I think there's also a few things where they had to change it to make the show make more sense.
The only thing that's different is just as what Ahsoka's wearing in that epilogue.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
kind of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But even like literally the motion of where she touches on the stupid like what's
The
it called,
artwork.
the art on the back is literally identical. Like,
Yeah.
ding ding like.
I don't know why I thought that statue was inside of Ezra's tower.
I thought so too, but I mean,
But
Now
it has that
they
big,
moved
but even
it.
in Rebels, that has that big open wall, which
Yeah.
isn't in his tower, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
but anyway, so also nuke droids.
Oh yeah, the new
Yeah.
droids.
Yeah, that
the
was a bit
Oppenheimer
odd.
droids.
Like we can't forget about those. The
They literally
Oppenheimer
like
droids.
incinerated.
they blow up now.
They blow up.
They blow up now.
Well, maybe it was like they set each other off, and it was like a secondary explosion. I don't even know.
I guess so, but that was a huge
I
explosion.
guess the place wasn't vaporized, but
It was.
there was still
destroyed.
something left.
It was
but-
destroyed. But so
I
Sabine.
wanna-
Oh,
I want to say that Jordan, you were wrong. It is Skull and Hati.
Get out. Listen, I so bad want this to be the heir to the Empire story. You can't blame me for that. It's
but it's
It's
dude,
not.
Legends is not canon, and it will never be canon.
I know.
You have to accept this.
Yeah.
It's not. It never will
I just
be.
needed to evoke. Like, I
They're
don't need-
taking you've already gotten the title drop, heir to the Empire. She already said that in the trailer. Be with it what
It's
you will.
not
They're
a
gonna
full
change the story.
con- it's not
it
a
will
full
not be a full exact.
recon.
You
Yeah,
know,
I understand.
I did
I mean,
see-
just the idea that, like, well, first off, Heir to the Empire alone, like, the main characters are the main characters from, like, the original trilogy, and we're not getting any of them. Like,
I understand.
Well, yeah,
that.
they're all.
I
like
understand
Luke's
that.
gonna have
too.
nothing to do with this.
I
Like, Luke's
did-
the main character. Of
I
the Heir to
did
the
see
Empire
a
trilogy.
theory a little while before this show
Besides the one.
came out that Hati could be a clone of Luke.
That's I think.
Just a
And
female clone.
and
Yeah.
when Huyang is talking about her lightsaber, and he's like, "I've never seen someone build a lightsaber like this before." It's a tiny chance, but It
No, I
could
don't
happen.
Think, no, I think you're mixing two things because he said the only person that ever built a lightsaber like this was Balin, right? Was the one that
Yeah, but he said he
But
didn't
he said he
recognize
never
the
he
other one.
didn't
but I
recognize
think
the
that's
other
just
one.
because she's far too young to have been at the Jedi Order.
Right.
She's like the
Yeah,
same.
Yeah,
she's
there's
in
no
her
way
own
that's
brain,
going to
though.
show up.
Yeah,
He's
but
not
I
gonna
think
want
it's
that,
far
right.
too young to not be out. I think she's like he's seemingly
He's
is
training
still
her.
holding on to. Well, he's not maybe like holding on to the nobility of Jedi.
Yeah, I
He is
wonder
still
if maybe
holding on
she
to
was
the
a youngling.
ideas of their teachings. I think.
Well, no, I mean not
No.
even that. She's real young,
she's
dude.
like
I wonder if
20-something,
she's
I think.
she's got to be like.
She's like
I don't
20,
see her as
18,
being
19.
like I don't know how
I
old
don't-
the actress is, but when I saw that actress, I'm like she looks about Sabine's age, which would mean
Sure.
that she's not a Jedi. She did not grow up in the Jedi Order.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
no.
temple, it
So
would've
I mean,
fallen.
she has a
I think
Padawan
she's too
Brave Bull
young.
because he says they're not Jedi, but like he might still follow some of like the Jedi code.
Yeah.
because they're dark.
Well,
Jedi.
you would
They're
default
not,
back
like,
to your own
He doesn't seem,
experiences.
like downright
right.
evil.
Right.
If you were going to have to train a Jedi, you're going to default back to your own
So-
Just
experiences.
for profit. Kind
Just so like, well, that's like just kind of traditions that you're comfortable with, and just even if you're tweaking what you're teaching, there's things that you're going to do in terms of just the way you do stuff.
right.
So that being said, though, and in the Heir to the Empire, Master, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, Master Sabaoth. I probably
Sabaoth.
Sabaoth.
Yeah,
I always screw it up.
that's what I think it is.
Like even in the book, he goes and he talks about the Jedi teachings and the ranks and stuff like that, and he's a clone. So it's like I could see the clone of Luke, and then the other, her being female and trying to like push it away from it, but then he doesn't acknowledge the Sith. He says he's a Jedi. So even though he's using dark side powers and stuff like that, and he still considers himself a Jedi.
Yeah.
a Jedi
I don't really
master.
consider
Doesn't he say?
Balin-
But he
I'm
says
not a
to him,
Jedi.
"I'm not Jedi."
No, but I'm saying
He still
in
follows
the book, in the legends, that they still follow the Jedi teachings.
Well, yeah, like
See,
Rich
from
just
what I-
said. I mean, they would just default to what they know.
Yeah, from what I remember, though, like Balin doesn't seem to be filling in for the Sabaoth role.
No.
No, I think he's
Sabaoth
just
is
a
very much Thrawn's ally. First, Thrawn finds him in the Emperor, one of the Emperors, and actually in Mount Tantus, from Bad Batch. But which I guess which probably will not even have that purpose in canon now. But yeah.
Well, I guess.
So I think there's still a chance that Sabaoth will maybe later
Could.
seasons could be more affiliated with Thrawn than this weird group trying to find him.
Yeah, but
So-
could
I
get a
think
Thrawn show.
like defaulting to what you already know. But it's like the same thing with Kanan
Wait a
because
second,
like
actually.
taking what.
Okay, so Jorah Sabaoth, I always remember is from besides being in the Heir to the Empire trilogy, he's also in something called the Outbound Flight, which is from Legends, which was a group of, if you've seen The Expanse, it's basically the Mormons from The Expanse who want to leave the galaxy. But there's like a bunch of Jedi who get on like world ship and they try to leave, and I think they run into maybe the Yuzong Vong.
No, they get they somehow die.
Either way, they end up in a scenario outside the known galaxy, but in Chiss space. So so Thrawn meets this guy, like during this whole incident, like in this I think like pre Clone Wars, maybe even pre.
It's during the Clone Wars, right before the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think it's like and that's why when he finds this temple later on, or the Emperor's thing in Heir to the Empire, that he knows that this is a clone of Jorah Sabaoth because he watched the original Jorah Sabaoth die, or he killed him himself, like with whatever the system was.
Point
I
is,
forget
now with
which.
them going into the second episode, and we see them trying to go into interstellar space.
So yeah, there is some
Extrastellar.
weird links now that kind of do connect to that character.
Yeah, and so what was I gonna say? I was
Sorry,
saying something.
he was cooking, and we had to let him.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I tapped into some.
Oh, so I was
forgotten
gonna say
moments.
it's very similar to like Kanan. Like Kanan like teaches Ezra how to be a Jedi, but also is not like he's also like, yeah, but don't listen to everything they say. Like I'm like making out with Hera, so
I put a baby in her.
you know what I mean. I put a baby in her. Oh, that's right.
When
Why didn't we see the
we
baby?
we didn't see Jason Sandula.
Yeah, like Kanan does not teach Ezra to like reject attachment in
Oh
any
my God,
capacity.
we have to see Jason Sandula
Yeah, we
at
will.
some point. But he's got to be much older.
Yeah,
now.
he's gonna be a
gotta
teenager.
No, he's gonna be 10.
10.
He's gonna be about 10.
Yeah, about 10 makes sense.
The
so,
magistrate mentioned an unknown force-sensitive race off in the distance that built the
I don't know
that
if she-
built the
they
temple
built-
that
yeah.
they were at.
All right, so here's
Zepho.
That's what I have.
they
in
say
mind.
it's an ancient race, but I'm thinking it's the Rakatan.
The Rakatan.
Fuck is that?
Rakatan are from middle of the galaxy, are they not?
The hell's
So-
the cotton?
The Rakatan are
Rakatan
one of the
cheese, like-
oldest species in the Star Wars universe. In Legends,
They
they're
get
the ones who
mentioned in Andor,
designed
actually.
those maps.
Okay, I will reiterate this once again. Legends is not canon.
I
But
understand,
they
but
they
are
always bring
mentioned.
stuff in
No,
from
Dave
Legends.
uses
Not
it,
just
like,
being addicted to
extensively.
Jordan, no.
But they were mentioned, like he just said. They were
Rakatan was
mentioned
mentioned in Andor.
in
actually.
Andor, but it doesn't matter. But they're one of the most ancient species. They're one of the first
that could be.
spacefaring species, and they're a war-based race that wiped themselves out. But they're the ones who designed the intergalaxy maps and helped navigate
Yeah.
the hyperspace lanes for intergalaxy travel. So I think it's a Rakatan, the Rakatan
Yeah.
species,
Could be
but they
Zepho.
might not mention.
I don't remember enough about the Zepho if there was any indication that they were like extra.
Well, they were
solar or not.
interplanetary because there's.
Yeah, I know they were on
very-
multiple planets.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But
Okay, so Sabine cracks the code, and we see this map, which is gorgeous. And there's just like a small little separate galaxy. Like there's a main galaxy, and there's a small separate galaxy, kind of goes off to the side, and then just a direct line that shoots right to it. And it's kind of like it just looks like another intergalactic
hyperspace
thing.
lane, yeah.
And before she can decipher where they're supposed to start, she gets ambushed by some fucking droids, and Hati.
Find out our HK droids.
Yeah, they're assassin droids, which is real cool.
yeah, I think we saw a couple of those. And they're just got a bunch of them running around. They had 2 of them in the Mando episode, like from a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, those
so-
are the ones that he was like,
Yeah.
get up on the roof.
Yeah, it's those
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, exactly.
So they get some assassin droids, and then Hati in her fight, and then she gets like killer ending to the first
Stabbed.
episode.
Mhm.
She gets
He's
stabbed
winged,
right in the
basically,
gut,
Yeah, right in the,
and I mean, obviously,
not as bad as Reva.
not as bad as
Oh my
Reva.
God.
Obviously.
Well, Reva survives 2 gut stabs in the same position twice in the same show. At least she gets winged in the side in like a non-vital position.
Yeah, and they kind of they kind of make sure that it's
Yeah,
off
like
to the
they do a
side.
close-up
Like they
on
do a
it.
real good
Yeah.
way of doing it.
It wasn't an attempt to kill her. It was an attempt that she could get away because she didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
Right. And then Ahsoka, so the end of the episode 1 is, she's on the floor.
Oh, that is a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Everybody
Yeah, she
shoot the
winged her
dinosaur.
to hold her up. Yeah.
So then we start the second episode, which is like, it starts with.
Starts with them with the orb.
A
on the-
recap.
All right. How about Lothal?
Oh, recap.
It
Oh
starts
yeah.
with a
Also,
recap.
let's talk about
Lothal,
Lothal, which looks beautiful. Also, Lothcats are puppets. I love it.
Yeah.
Everything
I didn't
in
mind
this
the
show
CG
is practical.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't mind the
not
CG
the
cats, but the
ships.
puppets are good.
I think the ships are practical.
Not the ships flying.
They might be.
Those are not models.
I think there's a lot of models.
I think
they're
there are
they're
some
no,
models.
actually, from what
They're
I remember
big
from
on-
behind the
they're
scenes,
real big on
Filoni, I
models.
think, filmed a lot of model stuff.
yeah.
Really?
Guys, just be careful
I-
about tapping the
Oh,
table.
that's
Oh,
my
sorry.
bad. My bad. Yeah.
No, I saw the Christian. I saw the behind the scenes things, and there's a lot of models being built
I think they
again.
brought in one of the original guys, like from. Like,
They might
from
be
ILM
enhanced
from
with
ILM to
CGI,
help
but
do it,
They
yeah.
that's
I think
always
they're
what
models.
they've been doing that for the last few years. Like Filoni's real big on practical, whatever he can.
Yeah, Mando
So
uses,
then they
practical
build the
models.
models, and then they do a lot of the light reflections and the additional detailing and stuff. Even like the lights and stuff, they'll put all that in post production.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Chopper was a puppet.
Well, Chopper
Or a
was-
real astromech.
I think
No,
the
Chopper
arms
is a real
probably
astromech.
the arms
they
have
brought
to
him out
be.
before.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally
The
what
arms
it is
are
on set
definitely-
half the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
he's,
arms are CG.
you,
Yeah.
you can kind of tell. Well, you can tell he's a little CG.
I just love that you can understand Chop.
I mean, you've always been able to. Though.
I'm just happy
Yeah.
he gets to
Oh,
be
I know, but
introduced
it's a
to
lot
the
more
wider-
clear now.
The wider
Chopper
fandom.
dropping F-bombs in every episode now.
Yeah, in terms of who adapted the most one-to-one, that would be that would be Chopper. That would
He
be-
didn't kill anybody.
He basically he's barely
It's
different
all right.
at all. They
We've
didn't
only
treat
seen
at
him
all
for like half an
differently.
episode.
He hasn't killed a whole planet of bad guys yet.
No, he hasn't choked the life
Chopper-
out of somebody
He hasn't
yet.
committed a war crime yet.
Prediction
arms.
prediction
Fine.
now is that Chopper's gonna kill everybody by the end of the
Chopper kills
has to
Valen.
sabotage at least one ship, and he has to kill at least one sentient being directly.
I mean, obviously,
Like, that's what
that
he has to
scene
do.
was gratuitous for all of us that love Chopper. That
Yeah.
first scene when he's in the ship in the second episode, it's just like, ooh, and he's just
He's like-
chasing.
And he's like,
goes
and
like
he's
banging on the
complaining,
side of the
and
ship,
he's
and she's
just
like, chill the fuck out, dude.
I didn't like where the and there's a shot where he literally puts his arms on his side and he's like, "Were you going through my stuff?"
He flexes at the
Yeah,
end.
like he's like, he
yeah.
does like an arm thing. It's like so good. I mean, it's what
so
we
well
wanted, and they did it as good as they possibly could.
Dave Filoni coming
Dave
back with
Filoni
the
voices him, so
Yeah.
so they start the second episode. They
They have the little orb.
They have
So
the orb
on the
and they're
second
looking at it.
episode, I wrote down the name of the planet. It's Seatos, and they were at the reflex point with the map, and we get to see them use later in the episode Dathormir magic, which I thought was
to travel to
That's the first live action
Daridia?
iteration of that?
Daridia?
What was that?
Paridia.
Paridia.
It's the pathway to
Sorry,
Paridia.
my
There was
handwriting's a
the-
little...
oh, that's the thing I was mentioning. That's like the legend almost is the pathway to Paridia, right?
Yeah,
Pathway to
it's-
Paridia, yeah.
Yeah, which is where
Ezra and
Ezra and Thrawn theoretically are.
yeah, and in the pathway is what they're trying to hit to.
Using the Eye of
Scion.
That's
Zion.
what that sounded to me like what the ship they were
Sauron.
building.
that's the ship. Yeah, the ship.
Yeah, that was just the name of the
The
ship.
giant
Which
hyperspace
actually,
ring that they're
speaking of the
building.
thing I was mentioning, that thing 100% looks like or like sounds like the outbound flight ship, like that from the thing, which is from Legends, but it's a very similar concept. If that's,
Me and
if,
Jordan-
if that's a big like galaxy hopper ship, then
Me
yeah,
and
that's
Jordan
what
both had
exactly
the
what that
same idea that it was literally just an enlarged version of the hyperspace rings that
It did
they
look like
used
a
in
hyperspace
episode
ring.
The
2.
Jedi-
That's exactly what
The
it is.
Jedi crew,
It's-
fighter.
Yeah,
starfighter.
it's like it looks like if you can kind of see like it's got a sort of shape here to fit a ship. So it looks like it's going to be like they're going to build this hyperspace ring and they're going to get a giant superstar destroyer. They're going to dock it in the thing and they're going to fucking fly off in hyperspace with this giant hyperspace ring.
Punch it.
You know, that's kind of what it looks like to me.
I love
And
how you said that because now that I'm thinking about it, that the Jedi fighters actually look like a starfighter, like a
Star
Star
Destroyer.
Destroyer. So like
Oh, yeah.
that makes sense.
it's
And-
essentially just a much larger one.
Yeah, the same shape.
Well, you got to kill all the Purgles. So
You gotta whale them like the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about so
the ice
so
Christian. It's up
Oh
top.
my bad.
what's her name?
Force ahead.
Morgan's the magistrate.
So
Yeah.
Morgan opens up the map.
Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth opens up the map, and there is literally a world between worlds circle
with Purgle.
but with Purgles in it instead of like
The wolves.
for Ezra it was Lothwolves.
It's like the
On this,
entrance
it's
to the
Purgles.
temple, right? I'm trying to remember. It's not quite like the ones that were like inside the temple,
No,
but it's
it-
like the entrance one though.
Well,
The entrance, so like in Rebels when he goes through,
On the
The wolves
floor
make- the
was
wolves
you've got
make the door,
the
yeah.
wolves revolving around, and then when he comes out, they're still going, and then they walk over and they close the actual door.
Yeah.
So, but the way that the Purgles were put in place looks like that, and then it almost kind of confirms it when she looks up into the sky and she hears her name, and she goes, "Thrawn's calling me from a different space and time."
Which
it's-
that I don't think Thrawn's.
I don't think it's
Thrawn's
Thrawn.
calling
I
her.
don't think it's Thrawn at all.
No, I think that's just
I don't know what that is, but
that's not Thrawn.
Thrawn.
That's not Thrawn. Oh, sorry about that.
We're getting copyrighted. We're getting copyrighted.
No, that's one of those things where it's like she's being manipulated by something.
It's like what's his name?
Yeah, it's definitely not
Wenwu from
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like
From
Wenwu
Shang-Chi.
from Shang-Chi.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this though, and you know, we're going through we're following this hyperspace lane, and this could tie into episode 7, 8, and 9.
No.
Or so 9.
No.
Hear me on this.
No.
I think this is separate.
I
if I'm
know
being
that you're
honest.
not wanting it to,
No.
If you're gonna say it's Exegol,
but no, well, think about it. Palpatine's still alive.
but Palpatine already knows about Exegol.
Yes, but she doesn't. So it could be Palpatine manipulating her.
See, I
through
think
the
they've already
Force.
And
kind
they
of.
need a Wayfinder.
I think they've already kind of set up, like, oh, don't bring up, please don't bring up the Wayfinder. Don't make me want to kill myself.
like
I mean,
that.
it's like the worst, one of the worst. Like every gimmick they brought in that damn movie fucking sucked. Oh my
was
god,
a
here's
good
a
movie.
Sith dagger that's ancient, even though the Death Star crashed here within the past 30 years.
It would have made
Like-
sense if they would have said it was the Blade of Mortis. But no, it had to
No,
be
it
an
wouldn't have
ancient...
even made sense
Oh
because
my
guess what? The Death Star
God.
didn't
All right,
exist
let's
when the
keep-
Blade of
let's
Mortis
continue talking about
existed. So
Ahsoka.
no,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
So anyway, Ahsoka.
Sorry.
But no, to just say the thing of if it links to the sequels, I don't think it does. I think
No, I don't
in
think
the
so.
Mando season 7 like round table thing where you get to see all the Empire leaders, it very much seems like there's like a Thrawn camp and a First Order camp. And
Yeah.
the First Order camp is off hiding somewhere, and then the Thrawn camp actually wants to do something now.
Well, I think the Thrawn camp was Hux's father.
Yes, exactly. The Hux camp is more in hiding, in more long game.
Constable. It was Commandant.
Yeah, yeah. That camp is more long game, I think. Like, and they're into what if for the sequels or whatever.
And you get Captain Paleon who wants Thrawn.
Captain
to run.
Yeah, Paleon and sort of thing.
Sorry, Julia.
Yeah, and they. Huh?
You were about to speak, and I apologize.
No.
Good job.
And I think it's like. I mean, so it definitely doesn't seem like it would be Thrawn. It also didn't sound like Thrawn. It sounded, it was, I don't know, it was definitely weird. But she literally said, oh, he's talking to me through space and time, which kind of is right there. You're like, yeah, okay, World Between Worlds, they're definitely going to try to at least bring that in a little bit. And then you see the Purgle ring, and you're just like, okay, well, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes me wonder if, like, maybe it's not, like, a different universe, but, like, a different timeline. Like, if it's across space and time, like, I don't want to, like, get into, like, oh, the Star Wars multiverse. But, like, it's a possibility.
I don't think there's any way they kick open that door.
Listen, I'm telling you, they're going to the Marvel verse.
No, but what they did in
Thanos.
Rebels is, like, they kind of opened it that, like, they could change.
Well, of
Events.
course.
You could change events.
Well, and
But
we don't even know that necessarily, because like I don't think there's anything that disproves the idea that. And I want this. And I would rather have this be that there is a timeline that exists where, for my own personal wants for the franchise,
That
I
Ahsoka
very
dies.
much want the Ahsoka dies timeline is the sequels, and the Ahsoka lives timeline is a different thing. But that beyond my own personal wants for something that's probably not going to happen, though. Yeah, I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. If I'm being honest,
I mean,
but-
it's also just like, I mean, they can alter things. I mean, literally, the whole episode of World Between Worlds is they almost alter Ahsoka's destiny,
Yeah.
and then she's like, I gotta
Well,
go
and
back.
I've
Kanan's.
seen
And
arguments.
Kanan's, yeah, they
that
almost
is-
they almost changed
Well, I
Kanan's
think the idea
path.
with Kanan's death was they all die though. Like in that, so how does Ezra get there if they all die? In
Yeah,
that
so if they pull
moment?
Kanan out,
So-
they really can't. So I wonder if it also is. There's a World Between Worlds where you can kind of like he pulls Ahsoka from that event, but she ends up going back. I wonder if it's like you can do that, but
Well,
almost like you can't. Like everything has to happen
I've
the
seen,
way it's
so
supposed
I've seen
to
the
happen.
argument that some people have made, and I don't even know if I agree with this, but some people feel as if Ezra's like the part of the timeline is Ezra always goes to the World Between Worlds and always pulls Ahsoka out of that moment.
Well,
So
I
if
mean,
they-
I feel like that's
and that might indicate why the door is a different shape than every other door we see in the World Between Worlds because it's the only triangle door, which I don't know anything about. The
Well, I
That's
think-
multiple
true. That's
triangles.
true.
I
That's
feel-
true.
But no, but the triangle doors seemingly you would think would have a different purpose than the other one.
I feel like that's a common like
There's another
argument
triangle door in
with
the
any
background,
kind of
you're right.
time travel
So-
thing. Like, oh, was Marty McFly always supposed to go back in time?
We're going
Well,
Back
that's-
to the Future.
And then that's
Well, that's
also
the
but-
Star. That's the Star Trek, Doctor Who concept
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
basically.
that's what they do.
Point.
They
There's
even
fixed
they even
points.
say it in
Yeah.
they even say it in Loki with Marvel. They were like the Avengers were always meant to build a time machine. Like that was just what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Well,
They
that's-
say
to be
that
fair,
in
that is
Loki.
the sacred timeline thing.
There's the
as
sacred
well,
timeline,
but-
and then there's also these alternate ones. But these alternate ones really don't matter. Is kind of what they tell you. And then I
Dave-
don't know about anything Quantumania.
Dave Filoni stated in an interview discussing the World Between Worlds that the World Between Worlds is not time travel. Everything is existing all at once. Everything it's outside of everything.
So you're breaking the fourth wall.
essentially.
Almost, yeah.
It's like we're the fifth wall, but that's the fourth wall. But yeah, if that makes sense. So when I wish I could use the whiteboard, but the camera's not set up for it. But
Where's our tiny little whiteboard?
but what it comes down to though is that it exists outside of the plane of existence, and everything happens at once. So Vader throwing Palpatine over the ridge is happening at the same time as Anakin killing all the younglings in the Jedi Temple. These are all things that are happening at once. It's just it's a nexus point. But so it's not really time travel.
No,
Okay.
okay.
Because you can't just go to like any moment you want. Seemingly, like it seems to be like a
There's, like,
collection
set
of
paths.
important moments, right? Like
Yeah,
Fixed
because
points.
like when he walked in,
What'd you say?
Like they're like fixed points or
yeah,
like
it's
in
not like
like,
1,000
he
doors.
nexuses or like time nexus
yeah,
and
so
stuff like
he
that.
went
like-
in and was able to very specifically find Ahsoka, or he went in and he was very able
Well,
to
the
like
owl
spec-
leads it to her, right?
like,
Well, yeah,
able
Morai
to-
leads him
The
to
Morai
it.
does.
Yeah, or very specifically could go to the moment of Kanan's death. Like, so I wonder. Yeah, it's probably not
I
like
wonder-
a
I
multiverse that you can go to anywhere in time. But
I
it's like,
wonder if it's based upon the person that goes in. Like if the windows are.
No, because you heard like people that. Ezra
But you
never met.
could probably
You heard
hear
Rey.
people, but you never
yeah,
see
Rey
Rey.
talked to him.
You never see Rey or Ben.
But the point is that
You-
it
oh,
existed.
but
You even get like Jyn Erso and stuff in there though.
But like you never see any of those people.
Which is also interesting,
Any
which proves
window
that
that
it's
he
not
walks
just
up
a
to is
Jedi
only
thing, 'cause
his
why would it
past.
show, like,
That's true. Yeah, anything that he walks up to, well, specifically, and I guess we just don't know enough about World Between Worlds yet to get into all of that. But I guess you could say yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying because like he only goes to 2 doors in the World Between Worlds, and it's very specifically 2 massive events in his life.
he runs around listening.
Yeah, but there's
for
tons
the
of
specific ones,
different.
right?
So, but I'm gonna put it in the context of the Flash, okay? Because this is the best way I can explain it.
Is this the Flash movie, which I haven't seen, so no spoilers?
No, it's the Flash as in the comics, CW, everything. It's just the Flash as a whole. Is that even if you're getting into New 52 and all that stuff, is that everything vibrates at a different frequency. So let's just use the 52 Earths from the New 52.
Okay.
All those Earths vibrate at different frequencies. But the Speed Force operates outside of the Earths. That's what the World Between Worlds is. So
I'm not saying that
No,
it
I
isn't.
know what you're saying.
I'm just
We
saying
agree
that
with
like the World Between Worlds, like whoever goes into the World Between Worlds can interact with only their past or future.
And also, I don't understand. As much as like we are talking about the World Between Worlds here, I don't necessarily know like where it's coming back into play here, because Ezra taking them away, like, yes, the World Between Worlds episode happens a few episodes before the finale and they're very close, but like Thrawn doesn't have a lot to do between the World Between Worlds. The only real link is that there is a piece of the temple on the Star
That's in
Destroyer. No. There's on Thrawn's Star Destroyer. There is a.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. There's like a piece of the temple that the Emperor built, which again we don't even know the purpose of why the Emperor necessarily like had this like things built stone by stone. But then also like how the Emperor made it so that it was his parents, like on the other side of it, and we don't know the significance of it. Did the Emperor need to do that because he needed Ezra out of like just existence? Like at all, like for this time, or is it just is a key and he would have had access to the door if he went through? Like maybe like it sends Ezra, but then the doors open after him. Like we don't know. None of that has ever been answered, so it's hard to like infer anything.
Well, I mean, the only time that Palpatine was able to get in there was when he could track Ezra.
Yeah, exactly.
Through it,
So
Yeah, so I guess it's all open. I guess we don't really know enough about that, and so. So anyway, she says, okay, well, he talks to me through different space and time, and then we kind of go back a little bit with Sabine, and we get the parallel between her and Kanan. She cuts off her hair, she pulls out all of her armor, which, by the way, looks fucking fantastic. Oh my god, it looks so good.
Can we talk about Ahsoka's lightsaber fighting?
Oh yeah. It's like so good.
I liked Ahsoka in the first episode where she cuts through the concrete or the floor or whatever.
Oh,
you
that
call
was
it.
sick.
The rock.
It drops in, and it was very reminiscent of me of the Clone Wars movies and the prequels and the stuff they do in the cartoons. Is that
they do
put
that all the
blade
time.
down,
They put the
and
blade
she
in the
did
floor
that.
and they cut it out and then they drop it.
She did that during Order 66,
Yeah.
where she cut it through and dropped through it, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
they're really paying great homage to the continuity of the character. Homage. I
Homage.
just like the word.
Homage.
Homage, whatever. Homage.
Gosh. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just so good, and then they track. They go to Corellia because that's where they find out the assassin droids are from.
Yep.
So they go to Corellia, and they meet up with what's that guy's name? God, I can't remember his name.
I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Just the guy in charge of the
matter.
planet.
The guy in charge.
The guy
of
from House.
the guy from House.
He's like in charge
Jewish
of a
guy
planet
from
that's
House.
like it's like I don't know, guys, reconstructing certain. It's like taking things out of like old Imperial
Yeah.
ships and then
Repurposing
reconstructing them.
stuff.
He's the shipyard
And so
supervisor.
they get there and
they have some like Andor-y type stuff that they throw into them, like
and
some political nuance.
Hera and Ahsoka are talking to him, and they're kind of looking for information, and they look out the window, and there's the giant hyperspace core engine thing.
I loved throughout that whole sequence when they're talking to him and like riding up to like the main room, that like off in the background you could see like everyone just like looking over and like staring at them.
Yeah.
Like everyone
they
there
have a
is
lightsaber
not
fight?
supposed to like be there.
Yeah, and he goes, some people are Empire, some people are not. Like,
I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as I get paid.
And so it's just so well done. And so they go up and they see this hyperspace core thing, and Hera's like, well, I want clearance to see what's up. And she does typical cartoony fashion and basically just says, well, I'm a commander, so you should just give me what I want. And they're like, fucking no. She's like, but I'm a general. The droid, the red C-3PO, walks up and is like...
Spills the beans immediately.
Yeah, spills the beans immediately on what's really going on there. It's like,
droids.
oh, actually, I saw an assassin droid yesterday.
you always
And
trust a droid
the
to-
guy from House is like,
Why didn't you report this? It's
bro,
like, why didn't you? It's
shut up.
I had no idea.
Whistleblower. Oh, my
whistleblower
God.
asteroid.
And then
So-
and then they're like, "Oh, for the Empire!"
Oh, yeah, then that one
me to
dude
get
gets
shot.
up and he tries to kill Ahsoka, and then, yeah.
It
and
was
then
very
it's
reminiscent.
this
That
huge
scene
fight.
reminded me of Captain America: First Avenger, where the guy's like, "For the Fiera," and then he shoots the doctor who did the super soldier serum. Yeah, and then it's like they run off, and then they just he kicks everybody's ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is, too. And so then, obviously, they find out that the assassin droid is taking off on the ship. So she, like Ahsoka does, it does some awesome shit, jumps out of a window, starts just chasing after it, and then the Inquisitor shows up.
Which is his name is Morok.
Morok.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't called him an Inquisitor or a certain brother or anything like that.
He
Yeah,
has an
his name is...
Inquisitor lightsaber.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
And he's got the look.
I was.
But who? What? All right. So I don't know if I remember. Why did he show up? Like
I
who's
think
he
he's
with?
just working with.
He's just with them,
Skull
yeah.
and Hati.
Is he was
Yeah.
like was he with like is he more associated with them though, or is he more associated with Elsbeth?
Every time
think
we
he's-
see him, he's with them.
Okay.
Like
I
when-
think he's like Dark Jedi.
Because I know they were all present at like the ruins.
Because
but, like I wasn't
at
sure,
this-
I wasn't clear like who brought him in.
At this point in time, the Inquisitorius is
Dead.
done.
Yeah.
Like
The
there's-
first
Inquisitor course
there's-
is long done.
Yeah.
The Inquisitor is done before even.
So like I
Rebellion
have to
starts,
assume that he's
so-
like chilling with Skull and Hati.
Well, I'm trying to think of like is he just like the opposite of what they are? Like instead of like he's a former like Sith
He's
affiliate.
more like a Sith assassin.
But like, is he Ventress basically? Like he's just
Probably.
like it's like when
Yeah, it
Ventress
could
like
be.
left to Dooku's service and just became a
Well,
bounty hunter.
there's no
Like,
rule of two.
because
in
they're
this.
basically just bounty hunters. Like that's
They're-
Shane and Hot. What were their names?
They're
Just
mercs.
Skull and Hati.
Yeah.
Skull and Hot. Yeah, like Bailey. And them.
Yeah, and so, so we get some really, really awesome fighting from Rosario Dawson here.
almost-
She totally kicks his ass.
I almost lost it when I thought he was gonna fly away.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I was gonna be like, no, this
But
was so good.
But also, Dave Filoni invented that, so...
Yeah, those
I-
fucking things give me PTSD. Every
And
time
so
I see
he
him
takes the
fly.
lightsaber
Like,
and he chucks it at her, and she goes running after him after his ship, and then in classic badass style, just stops, turns, and the lightsaber just goes right past her. And oh my god, I was just like, she just doesn't care. She just doesn't give a shit, Rich. She doesn't give a shit.
Nope.
And it's just like,
I
you
love
know,
that at the end though. The lightsaber comes flying back, and she's just like,
Yeah, that's what he just
That's
said.
what I just
"Oh,
said.
I was like, kind of half. Sorry.
I'm glad you pay attention to me when I talk.
Nope,
Jordan.
Look, I'm out of it. I mean, it is 11:44. This is past my bedtime.
it's fine.
Our midnight
But
showing.
so yeah, I mean, it was so yeah, and
I
fucking they fly off. They go to what is the planet called again?
They go
planet
to,
that they go to?
Seatos.
Seatos. They go to Seatos and they open the map and then they can see all.
I have
that jazz.
I have like DNAB on here or Denab.
that's the system.
That's the system.
Yeah, it's the Denab
Okay.
system that
Denab
takes
system.
them to Seatos.
That yeah, but so I guess here's my question then. Here, what are your guys' predictions then? I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We could talk about this and dissect this for days. Visually, it was phenomenal.
Oh,
Story
and then
was great.
I forgot. So I forgot to mention that Ahsoka picks up Sabine and is like, yeah, we should probably go looking for this thing now.
Padawan.
And so then she's Padawan now. And Huyang gives her, like, some courage.
But also, Huyang also meant we kind of get this idea of, like...
Huyang's savage.
I love Huyang.
So...
He's like C-3PO in the sense of he doesn't process.
So Huyang is like 1,000 years old, if I remember correctly. And he says that, like, Sabine is the least attuned to the Force of anybody. Which means, like, maybe, like, she has done no, like...
Meditation training.
And I think she has almost... I don't think she's ever manipulated the Force, if that makes sense.
Huyang is 25,000 years old.
Yeah.
So Huyang is older. Huyang currently, in canon, is like, from what we've physically seen in TV shows, is like the oldest being in the...
Probably.
Yeah, Yoda was the next closest, and then that
Aside
was
from
it.
Yoda's only like 900 years old.
Before we watched the episodes, we all took bets on if Sabine was Force sensitive or not.
The only one
Everyone
that
said
no.
yes except for Julian.
I was the only
No,
one
but
that
I've
said no.
No, but I've said all along, if she is Force sensitive, it is not. It's a very, very, very low level.
And that's
like,
what kind of Huyang like
Yeah,
confirmed.
like
Well,
it's.
they didn't necessarily say low level.
It doesn't.
just
She
might
may have
be-
none, but there's.
It might just be different.
Or it's not. It still hasn't fully awakened because the training's.
Yeah,
the
I
Force
imagine
Awakens.
that she's going to for the big moment of the season
gonna
will
be-
be like she will use the Force.
it's
like,
gonna be
actually
completely
physically.
opposite to Rey. She just doesn't get any abilities at all.
That's what I'm thinking.
'Cause I think
If
her arc
they
thing is
find a
Force.
way to train her to be a fucking Jedi without needing the Force, that would be the craziest shit ever.
Also,
Well, people
like-
forget in Legends, like one of the biggest signs of Force sensitivity was creativity. Was like genuinely like in your ability in art like your ability, your art was literally like was connected to like your ability to use the Force sometimes. And even with her ability to decipher like the art that she's doing in this episode, like she does plenty in Rebels, like you can technically argue, given like some of the weird abilities in Star Wars, that could be a Force sensitive thing.
I have
like
2 more things. First, confirmed third Mandalorian Jedi in all of Star Wars, Sabine
basically,
Wren.
or at least like some training of it, yeah.
And 2, Ahsoka showing that she has the Force Echo ability.
Oh yes, we forgot about that. So she,
Force
yeah,
sense. At
the
least.
Sense Echo. Well, it's in the game. It's called Sense Echo.
Yeah.
Probably not as strong as Cal's, because Cal's is
No.
almost like a fucking Keke Genkai version of it.
Yeah, you're right.
Like-
But Cal can like walk into a room but she can hear and like see, like she was hearing the fight exactly. So now I'm wondering, is maybe that what they're gonna play into with the Anakin voiceover thing? Is maybe we don't see Anakin. Maybe she just does like a sense echo of one of her old items, and that's like what he's saying to her. Which would fucking suck. I would be so mad if that's what they did.
We do think
but
that
also,
Sabine's dream was a Force dream, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Both of them.
Oh, yeah, but she does
had
have two,
two
yeah.
nightmares, and Ahsoka kind of tuned into the second one.
Rich,
Oh, that
what-
is right. I forgot about that. Yeah, she definitely felt
What?
that.
You were about to say something.
Nope.
I thought you were.
Nope.
Jordan's just off of it today.
Listen, no, I'm really trying to like process this and digest it. Like
There was a lot.
there really was a lot. Like we see the prediction of Skull, and he's like, no, she's coming. And I think that's what we'll get the rest of the trailer footage. Is that he's like, oh, Anakin spoke highly of you.
Yeah, I think there's gonna. It's an interesting thing because what I did notice was that he does not want to kill Ahsoka.
He said it would be a shame. There's only so many Jedi left.
He's willing to do it, but he doesn't want to.
But I think there's going to be more to this than I think there is more to this than that. I think he's a little reluctant.
Yeah, he's.
He's
we know from the
what-
trailer
you know what
that he
I
knew
one thing that I
Anakin.
like. Yes, he knows Anakin, and one of the things that I like is that he talks about the power. He's interested in that power, but he's reluctant that the war that it will create.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting thing because I think he has an agenda. He's working for Morgan, but I do think that he's got his own agenda.
Do you think that he's reluctant because it's the tradition that he wants to keep alive, or the fact that he wants to keep Ahsoka alive?
Probably
And
the
try to-
tradition.
I think it's the tradition, but I
I think
also
he probably-
think
that's
he's
probably-
older.
Well, I
Well,
think
he
it's
still
the
seems-
tradition
He's
because
older
that's
and
why
he's
that's why
seen enough war.
Yeah.
that's why
He's,
Hati has
you know-
the
Yeah.
She is a Padawan braid. It's
Padawan
not a
braid.
Sith thing. It's not some random other thing he made up. It seems to be Jedi.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean,
trained.
and also,
maybe not
like,
some of the ideals.
They're
but-
not like, if you think about it, like, yeah, they kill the rebels in the beginning, and like they are like the antagonists.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just from these 2 episodes, you kind of have an insight into them that they're not really like bad guys.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
They're not the
the
masterminds
Inquisitor,
behind
the
this,
Inquisitor guy is like a bad guy.
Sure.
Like, you could tell. But with Skull and Hati, like, they don't seem like they feel more. I guess just from these episodes, they don't feel like the big bad evil villain.
They feel like they
more
can have a redemption.
not only just redemption, but they feel like anti-heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I know for a fact I'm going to find myself rooting for them.
And I think
You
they
know
identify. I think he identifies with Ahsoka, and he sees himself a lot like her.
Exactly,
Well,
yeah,
they're
which is
both
why I say
survivors.
more of an
They're both-
anti.
You
they're
know,
left the order.
There's not a
He's
lot of
just kinda fighting for his
survivors
own
left,
thing.
and there's not a lot of people that he probably can identify with himself. Like, so I think there's a big thing coming for him.
Jack?
I was gonna say that he reminds me, just not like as drastic though, at like Malicos from Fallen Order.
Yeah,
Yeah. He hasn't lost the sanity of it. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
he's not
He's stuck on
insane.
down
he's
the
not
road
like,
for
yeah
God knows
nuts. He's not knucking
So
butts.
I got, I guess, the way that I look at this, and I'm just trying to like, when you look at, I'm sorry, my mind's blanking. When you look at Morok versus their lightsabers too, like he's using the Inquisitor blades, they're like a deep red. And then when you look at, maybe this is just my color blindness.
No,
When you
they're,
look
they're
at
like an orange.
They're like a blood orange,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like closer to.
Which that's not really explained yet, right?
no.
It's like a partial bleed. So, like the big thing is, I think there's going to be a redemption. Too bad, you know. I mean, they kind of have to kill him off now, regardless. But
Well, yeah. Also, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
facts. But all right. So real quick, then, what are y'all's predictions for episode 3? Jack,
I think
we'll
we're
start
gonna
with you.
get that fight
I
between
think the Forest
Skull and.
fight is next.
I think we're gonna get that fight between Skull and Ahsoka, and I'm sure that the super hyperspace engine's gonna be finished, and by episode 4 we're gonna be outside of the main Star Wars universe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from trailer footage, I think next episode is probably like probably this, because I think the forest, because we see in the trailer is the Sabine versus Shin again, like in a forest, which is probably the forest that's behind them at that one temple thing.
That red
Yeah, I wonder if
forest
that
we
fight
saw
is happening
Yeah.
at the
on
same
that
time
cliff.
as Skull's
Exactly,
fight.
and
they
I think
were,
that
yeah.
fight, but also we see Ahsoka fight Morok in that forest. So I assume that like at some point she has to break away from Balin to go after Morok for some reason, and then probably kills Morok next episode. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, the next episode's only 31 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be action.
So
I
it's
think
all
lightsaber
just going to be
action.
30 minutes
Yeah.
of fighting.
I think it's lightsaber fights. Yeah.
Which is perfectly fine with me because the lightsaber fighting in this is awesome and
Maybe
the
some
CGI is
Hera stuff
fantastic.
in atmosphere.
Also, can we talk real quick? Can we talk about the ships? They look so
they're
good.
so
Also, we've seen
good.
Phantom 2 and it's so gorgeous.
They're saving stuff too. They're saving a lot of.
They
They
didn't
didn't
show us the
blow
ghost.
everything away immediately.
Maybe
They only
that's
got
where Jason is.
Yeah, maybe he's
got the
captaining
ghost.
the ghost. Maybe.
This wasn't in. This was.
I mean, he would be what?
I thought we saw the ghost sitting there on like. I thought I saw the ghost.
It might
just
have been in
kinda
the
sitting there in
background,
the background. When she leaves in the ghost, there's a shot, and you see the window, like the
I'll have to rewatch.
the cockpit
Yeah.
window in the middle of a ship. It's set back a little bit, so I think it's just part.
It's probably in the
there.
background.
I'll have to
somewhere.
watch it
You
again.
know.
I didn't see it.
So my prediction is, like you guys said, is all combat. I think we'll get a glimpse of Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
That would be
Hopefully.
nice.
Hopefully,
That would be very nice. I will be.
Rex is gonna come in, be like,
Dude,
"Yo, what's
All
up?"
don't know
I'm
if
saying.
I will say, if we do go to the different galaxy at some point, then that does, I think, lessen the chances of like a Rex and like Zeb showing up like later in this season. I think like again, this is supposed to have multiple seasons, so I don't. I think
Rex
the
and
idea.
Zeb
Yeah, so
mount
Rex and
search
Zeb, I
party.
think even if they're not in this season, will have to be in it
Eventually.
and
Well,
be
Zeb
in at
is,
some point.
according to like online, Zeb is the only Rebels character that's not credited for this show. He,
I
but Captain Rex is credited
Yeah.
for this season.
But Zeb wasn't credited in.
Yeah, but that was a
Mandalorian.
cameo.
Mandalorian, so it's a little bit.
I
But
different.
that was a
can't-
cameo. It's different for this. Like this is like if he's gonna be in this show, he's gonna be a main character.
I
So-
can't imagine
Which I don't think he's a
them
main
bringing Hayden Christensen back just for like a voiceover. Like, He has to be.
Well, I think we are going to get the holocron. I think we're going to get the holocron for training.
I don't want that.
no,
though.
I
I want to
that.
see him with young Ahsoka and fucking Captain Rex. And here's
Call
the thing.
her Snips.
And he calls her Snips.
And he calls her Sky Guy.
And she calls him Sky Guy.
Yeah,
well,
that.
here's the thing. I have always said this. And from the beginning of the fucking Clone Wars, is that Clone Wars Anakin and Hayden Christensen Anakin have always felt like two completely different characters to me.
Mm-hmm.
They are always been two different people, and it bothers me that we've never gotten a connection before. But now in the Force trailer, it's literally Hayden Christensen saying the word Ahsoka as Anakin Skywalker.
Saying, like, the dialogue of the Clone Wars.
Like, he says, like, in this war, you will face more than just droids and things like that. So it's literally him talking. So I'm hoping, I hope to God that we get to see him. I don't care if that's the only fucking scene and I already know what he's going to say.
My prediction for the next episode is a little bit different than yours. I think that we are going to see some training in this episode. I don't think we're going to see, which I think parallels the fact that all the stuff that Anakin puts Ahsoka through in that one episode. Because isn't Kanan
from
even in the
Tales of the
background in that
Jedi?
one episode?
In which episode?
The Tales of the Jedi.
Oh, the Tales
Tales
of the
of the
Jedi
Jedi.
episode, yeah.
Yeah, like so.
Kanan does watch.
Yeah, little Kanan's there, so
Oh,
I
yeah, during the trials.
there is a connection. So I feel like
He
we
is in
may.
that.
I think you
Forgot.
could get in this next episode when she's training Sabine. I think there's going to be some training scenes, and I think we may flash back to her being trained by Anakin.
And then episode 4 is all the conflict.
Yes.
Could be, yeah.
It's a good- yeah,
I can-
Whatever is the problem with, because like obviously like Ahsoka walked away from Sabine. Whatever that problem
We have to
is,
talk about that. Yeah.
yeah, whatever that is very much has to do. Which is weird that Ahsoka walked away from Anakin like as his apprentice, then walked away from Sabine as Sabine's like master.
Right.
But whatever that is realistically is due to like some trauma relating to Anakin.
Sure.
Like that's realistically what the root of this issue between the two main characters of the show are, directly relates to Anakin Skywalker, which is it's wild it's taking this long for them to actually have a show that he's that important.
I liked
to.
your theory when we were watching it that like she walked away from Sabine because she has feelings for Ezra.
Well, yeah, she knows what she said before. Like I've seen what those feelings can do to a fully trained Beta Jedi Knight, the best of us. That's her direct dialogue in
Mandalorian.
in Mandalorian. So, which that's very much from experience. Like when she says
And
that.
Also, they had to throw in an Ezra's thing that he thinks of her as a sister.
But I think even
No.
but even the
It's
way
like,
he
no.
said it, no, but if you watch that,
God
scene,
damn
but if
it.
you watch that scene, the way like Ezra says that is he almost says it in like the awkward like put your foot in your mouth type way, which is like
Because
he
he's
should be,
Ezra and
which
he's
is- no,
fucking
which is like he
awkward.
should be saying something else, and like this is the moment that he because even Sabine like laughs at it, but not in like a that's I agree type way, in a more of a like a knowing like smirk type way.
Like
which,
that's
like,
me looking at my girlfriend and being like,
Hey.
I love you like my sister.
Yeah.
Luke and Leia taught them well.
Yeah, dude. We're gonna Game
no,
of
even, like,
Thrones
the
it up
idea
in
that
here,
There's
bro.
there's a lot of questions that this leaves. And I think the one big question that I have is who is Morak, and what's his role going to be, but also like
I think he's just a dude.
going back to what Huyang said to Sabine. He says to her, and I think I'm trying to remember this, I've seen a lot of Padawans, and you're essentially nothing compared to them, based off of your Force sensitivity. I guess, are we going to see the end of Huyang?
No.
Well, maybe.
He got blown up and still is kicking.
Yeah, I mean, he said I'm 75% original parts.
And then, going into the next episode, we have those predictions. So, I guess do we see?
We
talked about a lot. I'm trying to process.
We can't
my
really
thoughts.
talk about much more. Like we kind of
Yeah,
covered.
we kind of went
everything.
through everything. So you know what that means? It's time for the question of the day. So question of the day is, what was your favorite moment in episodes 1 and 2 of Ahsoka? And also, what are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen in episode 3? Yeah, let us know, because I think we've got some pretty good ideas of what might happen, but also Star Wars loves to throw us a monkey wrench, so we could be completely wrong, and they might go to
Ahsoka dies
Tatooine in the next episode.
They better not go to Tatooine. I
Anyway,
do want to. I
see
do want to
Tatooine,
say to
I'm
the
gonna,
audience as you wrap it up that welcome to our new set.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah, so this is our new set.
New
Yeah,
set, new
if I see
shirts,
Tatooine, I'm
same old
blowing up
us.
the actual country of Tunisia. It's like so.
Blowing up
Okay,
Tunisia.
he's only kidding. We don't need him on a government watch list. He's only
We're
kidding.
in a class Tunisia because we don't have to go to Tatooine again.
So-
We don't have to go to there's no
Jack,
Tatooine
make it do
anymore.
something.
We could do that in Jordan.
What?
And
Make-
we'll
make the
also
lights
bomb
do
whatever
something.
big ass set they make.
I can't do that. You'd have to do it from your
Alexa,
iPad.
Oh, okay. I thought you could talk to the thing.
Alexa, too long. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. Go ahead and follow us. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everything you can possibly think of. You can find us on BICBP Radio. Thank you, Moranto Media, for having us here to record our podcast. And also Apple, Spotify, everywhere you could
All
think
that
of.
good stuff.
All the good
Yeah,
stuff.
YouTube. Go watch us eat hot, spicy wings coming up soon.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And hating our lives.
Coming out-
If you
coming
wanna
out-
see
Almost
our
fully
reaction to
edited.
the
Almost fully
first
edited by
episode as
Jack.
well.
This we did a Star Wars trivia hot wings challenge where we eat chicken wings and do the 10 hot sauces from Hot Ones. So stay tuned for that, where we tortured ourselves and drank a lot of milk. Thanks for watching, and for the rest of us, may the force be with you, and we'll see you next week for Ahsoka Episode 3.
Bye bye.